From the caves of the Crab Conspiracy to the stars of the Crab Nebula, I bring you the Decapod.
Oh, Siggy Butt Brain.
What up, mate?
Siggy Butt Brain.
You know it. How's it going?
What's up, man? I'm good. How are you?
Good, dude. I just got off a meeting, so I thought I would quickly jump on here.
Perfect, man. It's funny because when I was typing out the questions early on, it says like, I know you haven't started the job yet.
Oh, I have.
Question, but yeah, now you have, and you're actually in the middle of work. Sorry, I was camping and I rescheduled. Sorry to reschedule on you, but I hope it's okay.
That's fine. That's fine.
But Karmavoid, welcome to the Decapod.
Cheers, man.
That's what we're calling it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're at now before we get started, and then how you found the crack on too.
Awesome, man. Well, I'll give you a heads up too. I've got a washing machine arriving today, so if I get a knock at the door, we'll pause. All right.
Go for it.
Yeah. How did it all start? Let's go over the CrabCon thing. It started with the big dog Ghost Shrimp, man. I discovered, obviously, him first. I think I actually discovered the podcast first before I even made the Adventure Time connection, which is a weird backwards way of coming into the fold. And then, yeah, listening to the pod and stuff, and then got into the art. And then I was just like, shit, he's doing this workshop. He keeps pumping up this workshop. I'm like, fuck, man, I got to do that. So eventually I, just put my hat in the ring and did the workshop. And then the rest is history, man. Met you, met all the others. Learned about the CRAB Con, learned about, just from one random like chance I took, because I'll set it up. Basically, pandemic hits. I'm here in Australia, Melbourne, Australia, doing my art grind, doing my thing, working a full-time job, a dad with 2 little boys, partner, all that stuff. So it's chaos all the time. Pandemic hits. There's all the job instability stuff happening. I'm like, fuck, what's happening? Saving money just to be sure. I'm like, well, the lockdown's happening here in Melbourne. It was really strict lockdowns here in Melbourne. I'm going to have a lot of time to just do nothing, sitting on my ass at home. I'm going to save up for a new Xbox.
And that's the plan. What was your full-time job at the time? Can I ask?
I was working in an insurance firm.
There you go. Yeah.
So basically the antithesis of a creative job, I was working in a cubicle job, 9 to 5, Excel spreadsheets, beige cubicle walls, boring as shit. Anyway, yeah, we're saving this cash because I thought I'd get myself a new Xbox, because why not? There's nothing else happening. The world's shutting down. So I saved up all this cash, waiting for the launch date. Launch date comes. There's no fucking Xboxes. There's no PlayStations. There's none. They don't exist.
Yeah. The X-Bone at the time? Is it the X-Bone?
Yeah, X-Bone. No, it's what is it now? Xbox Series X.
Oh shit.
They're throwing more X's in it.
Yeah.
But anyway,
yeah.
I was presented with this opportunity. I was sitting on a fat stack of cash, waiting to drop it, and Dan announced the next round of the workshop. I'm like, fuck, man, I could get this Xbox and just be a slug playing fucking, Elder Scrolls for the rest of my life.
Elden Ring, dude. Elden Ring.
Yeah, that's about to drop.
I don't know.
But I don't have a console that will run it, do I?
That's good. That's good, though. That's good. I'm not going to get it I got to refrain.
Yeah, dude. It's going to be the death of all good things. It's just going to be a time suck.
It's so good, though. But
look, that was the decision. The decision I made was to drop some cash and invest in myself and my art, because I was heading towards 40. I wanted to start making bigger moves, but everything was shutting down. The world was shutting down. Thankfully, I was working in a job remotely, so I could still have a full-time income with nothing to spend my cash on. So I saved, hit up Dan and said, dude, I'm going to do this workshop. And he's like, cool, send me the cash, let's do it. We did it. And that was just like a pivotal decision I made, man. Like I could have literally just been gaming and just been a slob for the rest of my life, like, and continue habitual patterns, or take a chance, invest in myself, and just here I am, 24 months later, basically working in animation, working a dream role, and manifesting my own reality just through and meeting new people and interesting people and friends across the world now that I'm making cool art with and doing cool stuff with, like this pod, man.
Yeah, man, I find it really inspiring. Obviously, what you've gone through. You're almost 40. You were working in a full-time insurance gig. You were not liking it. You took the like you said, you took the route of self-investment, and then 24 months, 2 years later, you landed the literally what the workshop is supposed to do, get you a job in animation, right?
Yeah, dude. Like
And
literally made that shit happen.
it's so cool. You told me a little bit about how you've gone there, and I really like the targeted approach you took. But it was
Yeah.
it wasn't a toxic approach. It was calculated, but it made sense. It made sense. And just why don't you talk about your plan of attack in getting this? And I think it's really cool too, because it makes a lot of, like I said, it makes a lot of sense. You're from Australia. These guys are Australian. If you don't know, I said Siggy Butt Brain, and I'm super extra hyped about you getting this shit because I discovered this like years ago. They're like
Yeah,
one of
dude.
the original YouTube meme animation.
Yep.
And it's
Yeah,
so
it was one
dope.
of
Yeah.
it was one of the first, like Michael Cusack. He's the creator of Siggy Butt Brain. He's also done like YOLO Smiling Friends. YOLO.
I just
He's
watched
done Smiling.
Smiling
You
Friends is
just
good.
watch.
I just watched
It's
it.
fucking amazing. Yeah, it's
like,
amazing.
I was like, wow. And it was funny because I'm talking to you, and then I'm like, it's on fucking HBO right now,
Yeah, dude, it's blowing up. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's a good time for animation and internet animation. They're crossing over now.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting working for these guys. I can't, say what project it is I'm working on, obviously, because it's not out yet and we're still working on it. But working for, an animation studio making sick animation by Australian creatives with an Australian sensibility. Like Australian humor is very specific. We got a really cut and dry sense of humor. We take sarcasm to a whole other level. We talk shit differently, and it's very it's a very interesting sense of humor seeing it come through in animation, which it hasn't had a chance to. Like you got Australian dramas and comedies and stuff that pop up in Australia, but seeing it on like a platform like Adult Swim and seeing, main characters in Smiling Friends voiced by Michael Cusack, sounding Australian and saying Australian things, and then seeing, if you go back and watch that YOLO Crystal Fantasy show, seeing that as well, it's super Australian.
I love when he like tackles the shit and he's like, "I'll fuck your shit,"
Yeah, that sort of humor,
insane,
and
insane. Yeah.
so it's really, really interesting. But the way I went about it, essentially off the back of the workshop, I'd made some connections to animation and whatnot. And I was really encouraged to push, and they said, mate, the only thing you need to do now is get your shit in front of the right eyes. Just get your work out there, and it's a waiting game now. It's just a waiting game, and that's fine to say to somebody. They're nice words, and you can only be told that so many times before you're like, yeah, okay, it's just a matter of time, But
Yeah.
through the workshop, I met cool people, and I was made aware of an opportunity to do a workshop for the studio that was making these animations, and they offered this workshop. It was a 4-week animation course. Now I didn't want to do animation per se. I find that the incremental drawing of hands moving across the screen, it feels much more like menial labor than it does creative work. So doing background art was what I wanted to do, but the opportunity arose to partake in this animation workshop and have my work seen by the studio. So I decided to do the workshop. I was in way over my head because I've never animated before in my life, but these are the chances you take. So did the workshop. About halfway through the workshop, I was just basically putting my hands in the air saying, this is fucked. Like, I'm starting to look like a rank amateur here now, because these other kids, I say kids, but they're all in their 20s and 30s, old man bloody Karmavoid over here. So these other guys in the workshop had come out of like graduate graphic animation courses and arts degrees and stuff, and I'm just a dumb fuck from Narre Warren, in Australia, just doing what I want to do. So I was kind of I was about to concede the point and say, look, I'm done. I can't do this. But I went to the guys in the CRAB Con, you guys, and said, this is how I'm feeling, guys. I'm in over my head, and everyone was like, you're literally days away from finishing it. Even if you fuck it up, just do it. Finish it, and it's done.
What was
So I
this?
took that advice.
What was
did
this
that.
specifically?
Sorry?
What was that specifically? Right, the workshop, right? You were talking about.
Yeah, the workshop. So I was going to bail on it. I was literally at the point where I'm like, too much. Because
the Michael Cusack workshop.
Yeah, so the studio workshop, yeah. So I was almost at the point where I was going to ditch it, and the guys from the CRAB Con were like, "Nah, man, you've come this far. You literally, you got your nose across the line. Just finish it, and whatever happens, happens. So did that, and I knew it had been threaded through that workshop that after it was complete, there would be a view to hire people for an upcoming project that they were doing. So they'd said that a couple of times during the workshop. And I was like, sweet. Oh, there's no way I'm going to get the job because I can barely animate. But one of the roles they put up was for 2D artists. And I was like, that's me.
And so even after knowing that, you were still considering bailing?
Yep.
At the end?
Because I couldn't animate. I didn't know what I was doing.
Oh, so like the projects were actually
animation
and going through like, was it not concept stuff? It was more technical stuff.
It was all straight animation. So we're talking about walk cycles, lip syncing, framing.
Not super creative. No concepting.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
It's
more.
Yeah, I thought it was, when you talked about it. I mean, obviously you just see their stuff and it's just like, oh, hilarious insanity.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I guess they're kind of running recruitment / learning, right?
Yeah. So the way it was formatted was really good because it would give graduate students a look at what the industry is like, what the animation pipeline is like, what your deadlines look like, what your daily work looks like, what getting critique from a director is like, getting feedback, and having to do retakes.
Did you have classmates from around the world, or was it mostly Australian people?
All Australian. So
okay.
They were all. The studio is based in another state, so I'm in Victoria, and the studio is based in South Australia. So it's a fair way away, but there was an opportunity to do remote work, which is perfect because everybody's locked down anyway. So that was ideal. Me doing the animation workshop was a literal just like throwing a bottle in the ocean because I'd never ever done animation. I was out of my depth. I did complete it, and at the end they put this job recruitment ad out there for 2D artists, and one of the roles was background artist. And I was like, I'm going to take all my juiciest shit from the workshop and from everything I've done since the Go Shrimp online workshop. I'm going to put that into this like red hot molten lava portfolio that I'm just going to drop on them and say.
Was that a PDF specifically?
Yep.
I like to get technical here because I think I've been asking people really exact questions for techniques that we can share and also attack ourselves. So so you did a PDF, was it a website?
Yeah, it was literally just a PDF with all my juiciest shit on there. So
not only backgrounds, just tell me about what you put in there.
So I did essentially all my best pieces from the Ghost Shrimp online workshop. All my best pieces that I felt the best about and felt were not the best of my ability, but the ones that I performed the best at and got the best reaction from Dan and the feedback and from you guys they're the ones that I focused my portfolio around because I realized I hadn't built like a specific portfolio in mind for just backgrounds because I was putting out these. So I thought tactically that I've just spent 12 weeks with an industry professional like Dan and yourself, and between you guys over the 12 weeks, if we've kept up with all the work, we've created these like nuclear grade fucking body of work. Even if it's just 12 pieces you did, you've also got the developmental work that you've done. You've got the processes that you've done, the sketches. You've got your plan already done. So I came out of that workshop with this bomb ready to go off, and decided to use that for this. But obviously added some extra pieces I'd done in the interim, bulk it up, make it really, in my mind, untouchable. So like
And how many
it would be
pages?
on
How
how
many
many
pages?
pages?
How many pages PDF? Because a lot of times, when you're submitting to things, you think, I don't want to overwhelm them, or do I want to overwhelm them? So what did you do?
I basically decided that 8 pages would be okay. 12 would be the top,
Mhm.
very, very top. So something in between those two.
Yeah.
If I couldn't get across what I can do for that company and why they should hire me, I don't deserve the job. If
Great.
I can't convince them by showing them that many pieces of work, because I wanted my work to be undeniable.
Mhm.
I didn't want there to be, oh, it's a pretty good portfolio. You could change this and change that. I really wanted it to showcase my imagination, showcase my technical ability, and showcase a broad spectrum of different design um, vocabulary, like different not
Locations.
techniques, yeah, different locations, different techniques like fading and
Mhm.
gradient use and just things like that, but used in artwork, not
A
just a
lot of stuff,
specific
I'm
piece.
sure, from your world of the Karmavoid too, like some of the,
Yep.
yeah,
So all the pieces I did were from my own world.
yeah.
Because one of the other things, this is another thing we're talking about tactics. Another thing I really focused on in the workshop was making sure every piece that I did for every theme every week was folded back into my own world of my own creating.
I love that. I love that. That's what I try to do too, man. As a fellow world builder, you're always like kind of hacking projects into your own work. Like I'm
Yep.
sure even in what you're doing right now, you're finding ways like small winks, maybe even. I don't know how much it allows you to, but but you're working in that world, you can bridge those gaps, Yeah.
Yeah. Like with the project I'm on at the moment, uh, most of the work I've done so far has just been environmental stuff, and there hasn't been much of an opportunity to wheel out my own stuff.
Mhm, mhm.
They have said that I've seen some of the stuff that's coming up, and it is balls to the wall, tripped out stuff,
Yeah.
and those sort of environments allow much more leeway for you to inject your own
Right.
stuff into the artwork. I mean, you still have to pass it by the director and the project manager and stuff, just to make sure you're not being an obnoxious egomaniac. you know,
Yeah.
it has to be, but it's good to be able to have those opportunities. And like, even on a scene like, for example, I think everybody's quite familiar with like Rick and Morty. There's lots of really psychedelic, hyper detailed scenery going on there, and you probably find if you pause it and look at it, there's a lot of things the background artists have been able to put thread into those pieces of artwork that are not even directly related to the show, but it's their own little playtime to put in
Yeah.
there and have some fun with it. So they're the sort of the dream backgrounds that you get, and yeah, hopefully I'll get a chance to do a bit of that stuff. But at the moment, so far, we're at sort of at the beginning of the project, so just
Yeah,
sort of
you
chipping
just
away.
started.
And
You just started, but so back to what you were saying about what you did for the workshop. You were
yep.
weaving the world into it, the pieces that you had in the PDF that you submitted.
So the pieces that I put in the PDF, basically, I dedicated a lot of the the weekly topics because I mean they're very open to interpretation and they're designed that way. They're designed to sort of allow you a jumping off point for your imagination to kick in and just go nuts. So um, from the beginning, I mean, like you were saying, we're both world builders. We've been creating our own little, fantasy lands and stuff. You've got the CrabCon and you've got all, Barktopia and all the other things that are going on. This massive imaginative world. And I've got my own stuff that I've been doing for a project called Cloud Seed, which is basically like a, sci-fi fantasy, high magic meets, Masters of the Universe type stuff, but in a very, cartoony world. So I've been building that for some time, and part of me actually building that in the first place was creating like a catch-all IP that I could just throw everything in and it works.
Mhm.
The same way Adventure Time works, because you can have a sci-fi story in Adventure Time and it works. You can have a magic story in Adventure Time and it works. You can have a horror story and it works. And it's one of those IPs. So like if you're working on something like Gummy Bears, for example, I don't know why that came to mind, but you can't do a science fiction story with robots and lasers in that because it doesn't work. So you need something that's more malleable and that's part of why I created this cloud seed mythology. So what that allowed me to do is when Dan says, "Hey man, this week you've got to do a dream world. You got to harvest your mind for all of the little personal mythology that you can think of and funnel it into this one piece of dream world, your dream world." And that's like, it's such fertile ground, particularly when creating a world that's so flexible. You just suddenly presented with this bag of like, sick, well, I can add this and I can add that and the other thing. And that was like the beauty of it. And throughout, like, week by week by week, I was finding that these weekly tasks were really expanding my own mythology too. It wasn't just, this is the project and then I'll go back to my own thing. They were all one and the same.
Mm-hmm.
So it meant that no artwork was wasted, no thought was wasted, no idea was wasted. And anything I thought of anyway, I was putting down in my sketchbooks just to keep for later because I knew it would come back up. So, like you were saying, being tactical about shit, making sure nothing goes to waste, it's like been so beneficial to me.
Yeah, I think that's very important because especially when you're doing something like a workshop, it's potentially for your portfolio, but when you apply it to your own world building, it's just more fuel for that fire. You're just adding layers and layers and layers, and like you said, you're not wasting any time because you could do a background that's for like let's say a fucking treehouse, but then if you don't connect it to your world, it just is that, and there's not much depth to it, right? So that's what you're talking about, and it's great, and it's something that everybody should do, I think, if you have that type of.
A good metaphor for it is I'm a big fan of Clive Barker, the artist, the illustrator, and he has this story. It's basically for young adults. It's called Abarat, and it's set in an archipelago of 24 different islands, right? And each island represents a specific hour of the day. So on each island, things are happening that would typically happen at like 12 midnight. It's a spooky island, or 8 o'clock in the morning. It's like a breakfast island. All of these different islands have their own thing going on, something different in all of them, but all of them together create the Abarat, an archipelago of a complete day, 24 hours of a day. So the way that I was thinking about it in the workshop was similar, where one island would be my dream world island, the other island would be my nightmare world island. All these islands are in the same harbor, in the same world. They all have to interact, and they're all symbiotic with each other, but they're all part of the same thing.
Yeah, and in a way, they're also can stand on their own, but when you pull out, there's something more. Which is
exactly right. And I think that's just a really cool way. It's like Dan would say, it's a super juicy way of doing it. It's just so fun.
Yeah.
Instead of having to, like you were saying, with like a treehouse piece, like working all week on doing a treehouse piece, and you're like, yeah, it's done. So I'll put that on the side, and then it's just sitting there on its own.
Exactly. Yeah. But there's also a respect I have for that too, but I think there's a certain type of person like you and myself that are just stacking bricks to make this universe,
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's interesting you say that, man. One thing I've always had in my mind, you said stacking bricks. That was when I decided to start getting serious about the world building thing. That was my one little motto in my head. Was every piece one more brick, one more brick,
really,
one more
really,
brick. Yeah. And the metaphor was I think it came from a Will Smith quote from the internet, and it was basically, don't try to build a fucking wall, just place one brick really well, and then place another brick really fucking well. And eventually you have the wall.
Yeah.
But just make sure every brick you place is done well, and eventually the wall will be built,
That's a great visualization for it, because like just like you having a hard time or just almost going into buying that Xbox, it's about getting started on this journey and then gaining momentum brick by brick. That's a big theme for it's just a difficulty of life, is getting started and getting into the flow and the groove of something new, and that's something that's going to take courage, you know. So
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you, like, seeing that all of these moves that I made were super well thought out. Because from the outside, it can look like I've just fallen into a fucking dream job, and
well,
in a way,
go.
in a way, I have, but it hasn't. There's been no falling about it. It's been tripping with purpose.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's so I've interviewed already 2 people for this kind of CrabCon article that I'm doing. That's about specifically getting your door, getting your foot in the door, in some sort of position, or how they got into this, or and I find it really interesting, and I really want to get into, selfishly and for everybody else, for how like what techniques can I take and apply to my plan of attack, you know. And I've had a lot of really cool tips and tricks that I'm going to take on, and that's why your situation is a very ideal situation for a lot of people in our peer group. You know, a lot of people want to get into the animation realm and do that. And so that brings me to, you made it. Congratulations, man. And again, it's fucking Michael Cusack, City Butt Brain, hilarious, just legacy YouTube shit.
Yep.
What's your days like now? Does it live up to what you're dreaming of? How are you feeling about yourself these days? You know, it's cool that I'm talking to you now after like a couple weeks of working there, right? How long have you been working?
Yeah, so I'm up to week 3 now.
Okay.
And I was saying to one of my mates yesterday, like, now that I'm working in this industry that I've been fucking wanting to get into forever, since I was a little kid, you were watching behind the scenes ILM shit and wanting to be drawing monsters for Star Wars when I was 8 years old. I've always wanted to work in entertainment and working in design and creating cool shit. So being here now, it just doesn't
You
fucking
cry,
feel
man.
real, man.
I would have cried. I would have cried.
I haven't even had time to,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it literally went down 4 weeks ago. 4 weeks, right? I got the message that I've got a new job, which is this job now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that was the Tuesday. They wanted me to start on the Monday. So 5 days later,
Wow.
and I had to tell my big insurance firm job that I've been working, that requires 2 weeks notice,
How long
that
have
I
you been
need.
working there for?
I've been working at that job for nearly 4 years.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
So prior to that, I've always had corporate bullshit jobs,
yeah.
working in finance and working in agribusiness and like farming in Australia and stuff.
It's so
So
it's so inspirational, man, because you know you are a little older than I am. I'm 30.
yep.
And you know, at times in your career, you want to get to a certain place and you're just like, fuck, is it gonna happen? Like, I've been trying, working so hard, working harder than anybody I know,
Mm.
but like it happens, you know,
It does happen, man.
yeah.
And this is the thing. It hasn't. I've not been sitting on my ass for that whole time. I've been just like yourself, grinding and grinding every day. So while now I'm working in animation, prior to that, I was just doing what we've all been doing album covers, doing flyers, doing shirts, doing weed vape labels, doing bong mats, just doing whatever I can to stay creative, keep my art out there, making sure people know, oh, that's that Karmavoid dude doing trippy shit, just doing art for fun and, tagging people in it who I think, would dig it. Like I did that Midnight Gospel fan art that fucking blew up,
Mm.
that was really weird. That came full circle, like just a random side tangent. Before Midnight Gospel was released in 2020, I knew Duncan and Pendleton Ward were going to do a show together, and there was a rumor that it was going to be based around his podcast, Duncan Trussell Family Hour. And I've loved Duncan. I've been listening to Duncan for fucking 10 years or
Yeah,
something, so a
yeah,
long time.
yeah.
And when it came out, before it came out, I was like, they released 1 or 2 images. There was an image of Clancy sitting against the trailer, the trailer house that Dan designed. It was him sitting against the trailer, and there was one shot of him like playing his synths, like with a big, wide open, Finn the adventurer, Finn the human mouth, with the real Pendleton Ward sensibility of the art. I was like, fuck, this thing's gonna blow up. If it's as good as I think it is, it's got Duncan's brain behind it, it's got Penn's technical team behind it, it's gonna be sick. Anyway, saw those 2 pieces, and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do some fan art. I'll put it out there. and I'll tag Netflix and I'll tag the Midnight Gospel, even though there was no Instagram handle for it yet. I'll tag Duncan and tag Penn, whoever I'll tag, just obnoxiously, because I'm excited. I'm a fan. I want to be like every other kid out there, pumping out art and getting the heroes to see it.
There's also a technical, again, there's a technique to what you're doing. You're trying to reach your hands out there. You're trying to get eyes on it. It's something that you're excited about. You have real passion for it. You know the people, you've grown with them, and you want to like put your work out there and pump it up, and then hopefully it pumps you up too at the same time.
Yeah, man. So I did this piece and I posted it, and it blew up. Nobody had seen the show yet. People were getting hyped. People were thinking it was official artwork, and I was like, oh bloody hell! Like, people are seeing my stuff. My likes were going up on my fucking page, which helps. People say likes don't mean shit, but they do when your work is getting in front of more and more people. They get to see it and they share it. And for guys like us that are trying to make hustle and make cash using channels like Instagram, it's important. So it started blowing up, and then before I knew it, these fucking ass hats on Redbubble were putting my artwork on socks and fucking calendars and bullshit.
Wow.
And there was nothing I could do to stop it. So it had gone, and I relegated it to, that's fine. That's just the universe telling me that it's no longer mine and it's out there. And even though I can't go, oh, it was me. It's out there on its own now. And I did make that, but it's not in my hands anymore. So I just sort of, I put my hands up at that and whatever, let it go. And then I decided late last year, that I would do the same image, but I would then redo the image in my more refined style. Cause I just pumped that original piece out, and I think the original was about A5 size, tiny little thing. So the lines were big and fuzzy and it was just shit. So I decided to redo it. Big size, beautiful colors, using the now well-known color palettes from the show. So I took characters from the show that I didn't even know existed when I did the first piece. I did this big mashup piece and I put it out there, and that fucking blew up, which was great. But then yesterday, I shit you not, was going through Instagram stories and I see Duncan Trussell has reposted it. I was like, fuck, that's my art. And I look at the piece, but it's not from my page. It's some random fuck who's adjusted the saturation and cropped it, right? And I was like,
crop your logo out.
Thankfully, I drew the logo into the art, so it's actually in a tree stump. They can't.
Nice.
Fuck them.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
Yeah.
Anyway, I messaged Duncan, not thinking that he would message me back, and messaged Duncan Truss and said, "That's fucking sweet. That's actually my original artwork. Here's the original." So I sent him directly an image of the big, beautiful one, and he messaged back and he's like, "Oh, that's amazing. It's so beautiful. That's wonderful." And I was like, "Fuck." He messaged me back. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And before I knew it, my pieces, all of the Midnight Gospel related artwork that I'd done over the last 12 months, Duncan's retweeting on his personal Instagram. Karmavoid. So it came back full circle 3 years later, 2 years later.
Amazing. Amazing.
And it wasn't about getting any financial anything from it. It was in his eyes, and he was interacting with me specifically.
Yeah.
So it was almost, the reward in itself was him personally acknowledging that the artwork was beautiful. I don't need any financial gain from it. It's fucking fan art.
Yeah. I talked to Nabiwood Bobby about fan art, because he does a lot of Ninja Turtle stuff.
Yeah.
Really cool. And he just enjoys it. Again, he's passionate about this thing, and just like you were passionate about doing the Midnight Gospel thing. But I asked, is there some sort of gain that you can, is there a real gain that you can make from doing fan art? And just like your story, there is a value to it. There is. Yeah. I mean, at like, it's amazing that you were able to communicate with Duncan, who's a really, really cool podcaster and comedian.
Yeah.
And that he saw your artwork, gave you the credit, and just gave you that juice, the little bit of confidence. I think that's the reward. That's the reward right there.
That's the reward. You're exactly right.
You just get excited.
Fuck the money. Don't worry about the socks.
It's momentum. You get like some momentum. Yeah. For your week.
I agree with you, man.
Whatever. Yeah.
It's and it was just something that I fucking I just needed that, man. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
there are times when you do. I don't know about yourself, but for me, I would still make art, even if nobody saw it and I was creating in a vacuum. I would still make art every single day because I'm compelled to.
oh yeah,
It's my therapy, man. Like it's me processing my thoughts through, you know, somehow traveling down my arm and coming out the end of my fingers like a fucking wizard. You know, it's it's crazy, man. And I would still do it even if I wasn't getting paid for it. You know, and now I fucking finally am. It's a goddamn miracle.
yeah, yeah. It's so cool. It's so cool. I'm fucking so hyped for you. And yeah, so you made it. What's your let's today's Monday. What you had your I don't know if you can talk about this, but what's the
Yep.
structure of your day? You know, what are you doing? You said you were doing some like environmental stuff.
Yeah, man.
What's it like?
So
Yeah.
basically, the way it works in this studio anyway, you've got a list at the start of the week of backgrounds you need to get done. So
Mm,
could be anywhere. Some shows could have anywhere to, over 100 backgrounds per show, and these aren't very long shows. You know, they're like that Adult Swim format, 11 minutes, and your episode's done. So you've got a quota of work you need to get done, and basically you're left to your own devices to get it done. You can because I'm working remotely. I mean, there's that to it, but I can contact the director or the producer of the episode for any advice I might need. We just Skype each other. We get on the Zoom call, and that's basically me. So my day actually from start to finish kind of looks like waking up, helping the kids get ready for school, getting them dressed and teeth brushed and hair brushed, all that sort of stuff. Get them off to school. Then I'm here at my desk from sort of 9:30 in the morning, where I'll touch base with the team at the studio. They're over in Adelaide, but I'm here in Melbourne. So I'll speak to them. We'll have a little scrum in the morning, say what you're up to, what you're up to, what you're up to, and then you're off and running, man. So thankfully, there's no micromanaging going on.
yeah.
They just, you're hired under the pretext that you know what you're doing and you want to be there. You
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
that nobody's going to sit around and make excuses about why the backgrounds aren't done. You're going to sit there and go, I want more, give me more, give me more.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's one of the things I never thought was if I punch, because I'm a very fast worker, I'm having to really slow it down because once the backgrounds are done, they're done. And I've got no job. So that's it. You got to start thinking about that. I'd rather slow down and really enjoy the process rather than get everything out and show everybody how much of a mad dog I am.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically it. And thankfully, the backgrounds that I've been doing are in so many very beautiful locations. It's been a real joy. There's not been any grinding, aside from maybe feeling like you're drawing trees all the time or something, and that's nothing.
Yeah.
Rather that than be drawing buildings.
Yeah. That's amazing.
But yeah, that's basically me, dude. Like literally all day drawing at the table. I mean, I just bought a sit down stand up desk as well, so I can get away from the desk or stand up or
Yeah.
just break up the day because being sedentary all day long is not good for your health. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's one of the tricky things. But again, I was doing that before, sitting on my ass all day doing Excel spreadsheets and shit. So it's not that great, that big of a physical change.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, it's just been really good, and it's still like I was just saying earlier, um, working the insurance job, getting the job on the Tuesday, having to start the following Monday. Thankfully, my insurance job that I was working for have been super supportive throughout all of the pandemic and stuff, and they were like, "We know you fucking wanted this job, or forever."
Yeah.
So like we'll do whatever we can to try to
That's amazing.
expedite that.
Yeah.
And
I'm
they
sure you
did,
had a
man.
great relationship with them and they were like, go follow your dream, right?
Yeah, and I'm just putting my desk up. So if you see the background moving, it's just me standing up slowly. Uh, the Yeah, so they got me out the door within like 4 days. So that was fucking incredible, man. Like I couldn't have asked for a better exit. Um, and yeah, on the Monday, hit the ground running, drawing from
Wow.
fucking 9:30 that morning. So I haven't really had like you said, like I haven't really had time to do the
Yeah.
waterworks. I haven't
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
time to let it sink in. It's just been drawing, drawing, drawing. But I have, like, I think you were alluding to this earlier. I've noticed physical changes in my life as well. Like I'm sleeping better now than I ever have
Wow,
because
wow, weird,
I'm
subtle.
not stressing about
Yeah,
bullshit all the time.
yeah.
I'm not worried about shit. I know I can go to work and kick ass. I'm not
What you're supposed to
pretending.
do. This is what you've been wanting to do.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't have to go to a job and pretend that I care about fucking insurance and
Yeah.
care about
Right. Yeah, yeah.
the email that was sent by, Johnny Nobody who fucking nobody cares about. I
Well,
don't. It's just
it-
it's
it's
just
also
such a night.
it's also part of your journey, man. It's part of your journey. All those years, all that time you spent, it's probably crawled into your work somehow. You're probably like got some like office guy in your world that's working, it's subconsciously and
Yeah,
like all that time doing all that stuff that's not what you wanted to do is just like getting you more motivated. And it
you're
depends on the
right.
person too. It depends on the person and how they take it. But that's why I really like to ride on waves of momentum so you can get
Yeah,
to that next stage. I think that's really important. But a lot of people are stuck in that situation of not being where they want to be. But you're a great inspiration. Like the last couple of people that I've talked to, like they're not people who have like 10,000 plus followers.
yeah,
Like you don't need that. You don't need 10,000 followers. You just need to do your best work ever and like not get stuck and bogged down. Make the right decisions. Don't get that Xbox,
yeah.
like and
It's
if
literally it's literally small decisions like that.
yeah.
I could have just fucking got that Xbox, you know, and blown that fucking grand or whatever it was, and I could just still be now. I'm turning 40 in two months, right?
Yeah.
And I could still be here wondering when these dreams are going to happen. When is it going to happen? Oh,
Yeah.
but I out there, you got to be out there taking the chances. You got to make your dreams come true because they'll just stay fucking dreams if you don't, man.
Yeah. Instead of thinking about why not me, why
Yeah,
this, why
poor
that.
me, poor me.
But I'm sure you were there too. I'm in those situations sometimes also, like sometimes you're like, fuck, I want to fucking get to the next level. I want to do this and that. Like,
Yep,
why not me? And like,
of
let's
course.
fucking go. But
But I think it's
yeah,
about the tone. You need to take the tone of yourself. You can be, why not me? Or you can
yeah,
be, why not me?
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
put your
True,
fucking hat in
true,
the ring.
true, true,
Put
true.
your fucking hat in the ring.
And when nothing's going on, that's what's great about being world builders is that we can just mine our caves, Just keep digging.
Exactly right.
You just keep digging, keep
Exactly right.
digging. Yeah. Get those freelance jobs here and there, do this and that, take a workshop here and there, invest in yourself. And
That's
then
it.
yeah, yeah.
I'd never, I think I'm very similar to Dan in this one that I'd spent my entire high school career being told I was dumb as fuck. I was not, you need to listen more. You need to apply yourself. And you can only get told that so many times that you're stupid before you start thinking you're stupid.
Mhm.
And the reality of it is that I'm not geared to do your maths and your biology and your physics in high school. I should have been doing art, performance, graphics, all these sort of things. But my parents didn't understand that. They knew I could do art, but their only understanding of a successful art job was graphic design. And graphic design back in the 90s was you got to do your physics, you got to do all these other bullshit mathematics jobs because it's all straight lines and rulers. And,
Really,
you
yeah.
know, they
Yeah.
didn't understand that you can have a career in fine art. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be a graphic designer. You could be a million different art related jobs. So, and it's taken me to become a full grown adult to figure out that
Yeah.
I wasn't the fucking problem. It was the education system,
Yeah.
the lack of understanding on my parents' behalf, so not sort of guiding me,
Yeah.
and then that resulted in a lot of self pity. So you got to get out of it.
Yeah, and something I want to say again is that like you gotta have balls to take a chance because even up until you sent the email and applied, you were still kind of doubting yourself, which is normal. Everybody
Even
does.
after it was sent,
Yeah,
even after it
yeah,
was sent,
yeah, yeah, yeah. But you did it. You did it. I think that's really
mate.
cool. Take the
I
chances.
was exactly. You have to take chances, and I was doubting myself when I got the email to say we'd like to offer you a job at the studio. I was like, nah, couldn't be, because it's been so long, man.
Were you like sweating? Were you sweating? I go,
I was
fuck.
just like,
Look,
it was
just
just
how many
disbelief.
times did you read the email?
Many. I still read it.
Yeah, that's it.
Now.
I love that. I love that. I love that you said that, because sometimes me too, when I get a cool freelance job, I read it like multiple times, even after I've started. I'm like, this is like, yes, it just gives you, again, like momentum and just little wins all the time. Build
Yeah.
up to the next decision you're gonna make, gives you confidence to get to the next thing you're gonna do. And
I
really,
agree, man. And I think the minute you stop being excited by it is like that's the essence of the thing. It's like you need to do what excites you. You got to
yeah,
do the work that makes you excited every day.
yeah.
It's just been a hell of a journey, and it's just crazy that I have entered animation at such a like awesome level, dude. Like, and it's bizarre because it's not. It feels to me as an outsider to the industry until this year that like I've found like a cheat code, like I've found the whistle and I've floated to the end of the level. But it's been what
Because
I've been trying
because
to tell myself over the last few weeks is that I've spent the last 12 years in the weeds honing my skills to a fucking razor blade. That's not just technical skills, but mindset, making sure I'm pumped up, not denying that this is a big thing I took away from you guys and the workshop was being fucking proud of being an artist and not denying how fucking good you are at what you do.
Yeah, you should be excited, you should be confident. I think about myself as like a professional athlete. I love UFC and sports, play basketball all the time, and when I step on the court, you're like the biggest asshole, and you got to come in just like, I'm gonna take over and I'm gonna kill everybody, not like physically, just like on the court, and
Dude, I was listening to an old Ghost Shrimp episode the other day, and you were literally saying to Dan, you were like pound for pound the fittest fucking
not anymore, dude. Not anymore.
toughest artist out there.
Not anymore. Not anymore. Back then, I was like, dude, I was like playing the pandemic has made me soft and fucking weak, dude. But I was like doing jujitsu. I was like fucking playing basketball like 3 times a week, and I was just like pumped up, just like, oh, and like because I that's why I really get along with Dan, because I think we grew up in the East Coast, in the States, and also like playing basketball, and it's all that like fucking asshole East Coast shit. So it's
Yeah.
cool to find somebody who's, because a lot of artists are, I mean, even myself, I'm very like soft and sensitive at times too, but there's elements of like sports, and like you got to really come with confidence. It really had like, a lot of what we've been talking about right now is about having confidence and momentum, and that really helps a lot, man. It really helps
It
in
does.
executing your work, even, like it
Yeah.
that those emotions, and again, the confidence shows up in the lines you draw, and
I agree.
concepts you make, the characters that you make. They're and having a like a more scared or like a softer character is also cool too, but like just have confidence and be proud and be excited. Yeah, I guess like you said, being excited is so important.
It is, dude. It really is. It's like, I think it's like 9/10 of the game is like by being excited about the projects that you're working on.
Yeah,
That's like super important because there's nothing worse doing freelance. There's nothing worse than coming up to like the project you got to do that you just not excited about. Even like freelancing, I'll get a cool job from somebody and it'll be like, I want you to draw this thing, and you're like, "Ah, man, this idea is just not awesome, and I'm not super excited by it.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
nothing worse, man. So you just got to get pumped up and find a reason to like get jacked about it.
yeah. No, that's huge. That's huge. What else, man? Yeah. So since you're in 3 weeks in now, have you working now in the animation, kind of using the same skills and fuel that you've been using to create your own world? I know you're still early, so maybe you're just really into doing the background design, but have you still been taking care of Karmavoid, of the
Yeah,
Karma?
man.
Yeah. Are
Yeah,
you
I've
more
been doing a
excited?
bit.
Yeah. What's going on in that realm?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I'd be fooling myself if I said I hadn't taken a back seat because it had to.
Of
You
course,
know,
of course, exactly.
until I got this job, it'd be like I'd be working 9 to 5, and in any little break between doing bullshit at work, I'd have my sketchbook beside me or
Yeah.
whatever. But I decided initially was when I landed the job, I was going to make sure that after I knocked off, it's going to take some time out from drawing and spend time with my kids. So that was for the last 2 weeks. I've been trying to do that, play with the kids, and because I'd find myself working in an office job, knocking off, being fucking tired and grumpy, and wanting to direct my attention to drawing and creating, to the detriment of being an engaged dad. And like that's my life is to be an engaged dad and to be, spending time with my kids and quality time with my kids, not just like, here, I'll get you a sandwich shit, but like, let's build Lego. Let's build fucking Jurassic Park out of Lego. All that sort of stuff. So, I mean, I've still been taking, I always keep sketchbooks all around me. And I've been making more and more notes. So like, as I've been creating things for this animated series, things will spark in your imagination. I just have to write them down and say, that'll work in my world too. Things like that, or even just a color palette, making a sky, instead of a sky being blue, making the sky fade from like fucking yellow to green, something like that. And going, that's a fucking cool idea. I could use that, write it down, just making sure I'm staying excited about both projects simultaneously.
It seems like, you know what, I could tell from the way you're talking right now, it feels like your skills are just gonna like, because all your time now is like super creative background, world building, design stuff. So just like you're saying, you're taking notes and you're like, okay, I could use this here, I could use this here, and then it's just really, I'm excited to see what you're gonna look like in some time,
Well, I noticed the other day, like I decided at the end of last week that I would just do some like personal work. I decided, because I've been back into D&D in a big way, and I've just been reading monster manuals and just being a fucking nerd. And I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to start drawing like my take on a bunch of different monsters from the monster manual for fun, just as a wind down. So I decided to draw like a Birdman, and was drawing, and I was like adopting these techniques that I've been using the last 2 weeks. I'm like, like I've discovered a lot of shortcuts that I didn't use before. I've discovered things about line weight, on the Wacom tablet. I've discovered things about, framing images and like using distance and all these different things. And I'm just like, where I would normally just go in and plow through this idea that I've got and put it down, I was starting to even separate layers in my Photoshop, like putting things in folders and labeling them just out of habit. And I'm like, fuck, this is what like a proper work ethic looks like. Not get in, do the drawing, save it, did I save it, oh, is the line on this fucking layer? Is it on this? Oh, all these sort of things that you just take for granted, where I've been forced to sort of be more regimented in it, making sure I'm taking time to make sure there's no bleed on images, and making, just little things that I would just plow through before.
Detail, yeah.
Details, man, little details. Like, I don't know how many times, you probably yourself as well, you like zoom into one of your images and you get that shitty white little anti-aliasing bullshit around your lines. And you're like, oh, how long ago did I do that? What layer is it on? All this shit. And you got to go back in manually and start coloring in like a little kid.
There's a trick to that. If you press right click on the line, it'll show all the layers that whatever your mouse is hovering over, instead of going through the check boxes. It's a little.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
See, I'm still learning, man.
Yeah. No, it's there's infinite learning with that shit. And now there's Procreate. Everybody's got an iPad. I need a fucking iPad, dude.
Dude, I can't do it. I've only just decided to get I've been working off for like a 13.5 inch Wacom Pro. So it's like as big as a little laptop screen. I just like middle of last week. Yeah. So middle of last week, I just decided to invest in a big 22 inch Wacom, because if I figure like, if this is what the new path forward is, then that's what I'm going to do, man. I'll drop a fucking couple of grand on a big fat drawing tablet and just go for the gusto,
Get professional. Yeah.
Again, this is another thing we're talking about, like choosing to spend your cash on the right shit. I don't know if this is just for me, but I'm so quick to drop like $60 on a bottle of Jack Daniels, but then be hesitant about buying $20 worth of something I actually need. It's like, it's a really bizarre like psychology that I find like rationalizing some things super easy, but rationalizing other things of lesser value, my mind is just like, oh, I don't know if I should. Don't know if I should.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
but I'll buy a $60 vintage Star Wars toy like that.
Wait, which one did you get? Which one did you get?
Oh, dude, I've been buying tons. I just got this, my latest one. It's Princess Leia in
Oh,
Bounty
yeah,
Hunter
I love
disguise with the removable helmet.
I love that.
Yeah, so I've got a fucking
Yes.
stack of them up there, just slowly chipping away, collecting them all. Oh, that looks so good, dude. The new BARC.
Dude, I'm so happy with it. I'm like going on little hikes and taking pictures, but
I saw you with Tokar, man. You guys
Yeah.
look like you had a blast.
bro, we came back. It was so cold. It was like 14 degrees, which is less than 0
That's ridiculous.
Celsius. But yeah, slept like 2 hours, but it was really fun, man. I felt like I came home. I felt like I went through a marathon, just really exhausted, but
Yeah.
feeling accomplished, like I survived. My
It's a
dog-
good feeling.
Yeah.
You need to do that sometimes, man. Just like blow the dust out. I went back to the gym yesterday after being away from the gym for like 2 months.
I gotta get
So I
back.
got COVID here at the start of the year, caught COVID, and it smashed like it smashed my dick off for 2 weeks, man. I was done.
Really?
I was done. Yeah, it was not good.
You got it. You got it bad.
Yeah, everybody in my house, I got 2 little boys
Yeah.
and my partner, we all tested positive. I was the only one that got really hammered by it.
Mm.
So it's just the luck of the draw, man.
Yeah.
But I hadn't been to the gym for like 2 months, so I went back there yesterday, and I can barely sit down.
I know. That's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. Got to get
It's
out.
a great feeling, man. Just a
Cool.
feeling of a bit of accomplishment,
Yeah.
It's fucking fantastic. Now, I was going to say, you are recording this, yeah? Can I get a copy of at least like the audio of it, man?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Because I've been meaning to go back to do my own pod and stuff, and I've not done my pod for so long. The last pod I did was with a guy from here in Brisbane who's a tattoo artist. He just finished, one of my good mates, he just finished completing an entire tarot deck in his tattoo style.
Cool.
And it was fucking, oh, dude, just like listen to him talk about it, and like there's so much more to tarot than I will ever understand.
I know a lot of people do really cool versions of tarot, and yeah, it's a deep art. I don't know much about it either, but
No, not that I mean, I like to think of myself as a bit witchy, but that's too witchy for me.
yeah. I've played it a couple of times and I've had some cool draws, I think. I don't remember, but yeah. Tarot.
Hell yeah, man. I thought I've got a couple of questions here for you if you want to answer them, man.
Sure.
Fuck yeah. One of them was, I like to ask this to myself like fairly often and just like revise it. But the crux of it is like, what moments in your life shaped who you are today?
Yeah. Single moments or just moments in general?
Anything pivotal that you can think of that might have pushed you down the path you're in.
This is tough. There's so much to choose from.
It is tough. I like to like periodically like ask myself like why I why I act the way I act, or why I'm thinking about certain things the way I think about them. And usually it comes down to something fucking dumb that happened when I was a kid that I've like this story of my own personal tale. I'm like, oh man.
I think well, okay, so in terms of, if I think about it and with the lens of how BARC came to be and everything, it's just from watching cartoons. I've always been in love with cartoons. Cartoons, like everybody was watching MTV and I was still watching cartoons.
Yeah.
I think about all the great characters. I've always wanted to create my own character. Man, I don't know if this is not even answering your question, but
Doesn't matter, man. It's still good.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
I mean, the BARC character, the interesting thing was like when I discovered BARC and like how you had sort of originally started doing your own thing, with your own name, and then started to sort of adopt the BARC personality, and all of your presence online was BARC. And then there was like the inversion of BARC, which is CRAB the God, and that was a whole other thing. It's
Yeah.
like these two simultaneous personalities going on. And both of them are they're both cartoon characters, for want of better explanation. And I think both of them encapsulate two different parts of your like personality. You've got the CRAB, which is all the creative stuff and the networking and building this massive community. And then you've got the showman, which is BARC the dog, who's the public eye, who's out there dropping merch and doing gallery shows and doing all this sort of stuff. So you've got like this external personality of BARC the dog. Then you've got this internal, like crazy creative, like avatar, which is CRAB the God. And these two very distinct characters working simultaneously, and they're both doing so many crazy things. It's fascinating, dude.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, and what? So I think I'm catching up now. I think one of the most pivotal times in my life is definitely my time at Ghost Scouts with Ghost Shrimp. I was working as a graphic designer, art director, and again, just like what you were saying, my parents and people, even myself, I never thought like growing up, people will say, "Oh, you're really good at art. You should be an artist." It's like you only make money when you die, like Da Vinci, like that was I would say that as a kid. I would say that as a kid. So I grew up and I took art classes in high school, just like normal public school art classes, and then I was like, let me get into graphic design. You can make money, you can make a living, and while going through it, I wasn't that happy, and I always drew my cartoons and stuff. But looking back at it now, graphic design is such a big tool that I use in all of my work, and I actually really love it once it's through the lens of BARC or whatever I'm doing. And so after like going through graphic design and art direction, I quit. I was working at Sony Music, and I quit my job because I heard about the Ghost Scouts.
Yeah.
And I was like the first to apply. I think the applications opened up in January of that year, and I finished my shit before Christmas, and then like as soon as it dropped, I was like submitted, and then he was like, "Dude, you were like the first one, and you're in." And it was something that changed my life and made me realize meeting Dan, and again, like it's going through the workshop is something that like really inspires people to take it into your own hands, and just like meeting Dan, you can see that you can just really get creative with your stuff and do exactly what you want to do. But yeah, the Ghost Scouts was something that really put me in the direction of using my graphic design powers with the illustration, and since then I've just been building again brick by brick. And then in 2018 is when I was the year of the dog, and on New Year's Eve I said I'm gonna change everything to BARC the dog and become BARC the dog. Just
that's sick.
Change my Instagram handle, make my website, everything, and just like completely take it over. Because for a year or two I had been actually drawing him, but he was just showing up in the background. He was just a character that showed up in the background, but I realized that he could be something when he kept showing up. I like drawing it. I like drawing the character, and it was just really easy for me. So yeah,
it's interesting, isn't it? Like it's like when you're a kid, I don't know if you ever did graffiti and stuff, but I was a bit into graffiti. I remember like you go through so many tags that you think are cool, and you end up settling on the one that's the quickest and the most stylish simultaneously. The one that's nicest to draw, the one that's quick to slap up.
Yeah.
And I think the BARC head has that quality.
Totally.
Like, I like Jean-Michel Basquiat. I like that sort of one-line drawing stuff. I think David Cho does a bit of it too, the two-hand techniques and all that sort of stuff. These quick, like I think it's really sick, man. And like your art style, there's like, I mean, I only know you, post BARC the dog being created, but like your art style is like super bold, and like the character just sits so beautifully in that world, man. Like your
Thank you.
graphic novels that you've done, like your comics that you've done, and like that fucking garage you did. That was so
Oh
sick. I
yeah,
was
yeah,
watching that every day for an update.
bro. That was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
You
Physically,
basically painted it. You brought your world
yeah,
into reality.
yeah. That was the best. That took every piece of experience I've had for that project because it wasn't just the BARC mural. It was I did the full branding for the
Yeah,
love shop and it wasn't BARC related, but I still really love like making logos and brand identities. Because it is world building. It is world building. It's just a different world, you know. And then
yeah,
but weirdly, I like to situate that world in the BARC world. It could, which is what I did is I created it's a spaceship landing dock, you know, landing
yeah.
bay, you know, basically.
It's the
So
fucking coolest idea, man. I mean, I get a bit fucking bonged out in this shit, but like, it was like you created a fucking rift in reality, and
yeah,
it's your world started slipping through in that garage.
that's
It was
exactly
fucking
what I try to do. Like I used to have a mission statement that said like I'm some sort of I'm importing uh artifacts from the BARC dimension into our reality. That's what I used to say all the time. Yeah,
hell yeah.
yeah,
And
that's
you can
what.
totally see it, man. Like, and like your merchandising as well. It's just fucking so good. Like those vinyl figures are fucking sick. Like I
Thanks, man.
saw the last one. I saw that future bark that when that first popped up, I was like, oh, it looked like Andrew McLean is doing Headlopper and that. He
Yeah,
just released a bunch of vinyl figures with that similar sensibility, big
yeah,
puffy, buffed out. And I
yeah.
was like, oh, these two could just sit
Oh no.
beautifully.
Oh yeah, the big headlopper guy. It's huge. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no,
Yeah,
I like
and
that.
he did a vinyl figure of that, and he did a vinyl figure of it's like a basically like a tiger character with like a machine gun
Oh,
blasting
you used
away
to have
and
the shirt.
beret.
You used to have the shirt of it?
He
Or the
I think
beret.
so. Yeah,
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 I think I had that shirt. Oh, I didn't see that toy. I gotta check it out.
yeah. Have a look at it because
Oh,
that and Bark would sit beautifully side by side together on a shelf.
no, this is my best toy, man. I really want to get into doing. I have been doing toys more consistently, but it's my best. It's my best product, and
So
with
did you do the sculpt or did you have somebody do it for you?
no, no, no. I had somebody do it for me, and this guy in Spain called Better Days Toys. He's I'm gonna I'm gonna stop using him because he takes really long and he's always busy. But
Yeah, it's hard.
yeah, yeah, and the shipping takes a long time. So sadly, I think this might be my last tour with him. I think he's not even doing it. He's trying to do more of his own stuff, but he's
Right,
really
right.
great. If you get a slot with him, like he's been really great to work with. Better
Yeah.
Days Toys. Um, but yeah, no, I tried sculpting and my stuff. I don't have the patience to sand.
Yeah, right.
It's a huge part of it, man. And these people, something I've learned through, you know, I really like the art of advertising and merchandise, and it's not, it's weird. It's hard for me to market my things, but I love the art of advertising, and I
Yeah.
love creating merch for myself. You know.
It shows, dude. Like the way you promote things with like mini like business cards, like from the Bark universe, and just all the little accoutrements that come with things like mini books and origami barks and papercraft and all these different things is so unique, dude. Nobody else out there's doing it.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, yeah. No, I'm lucky to have like a lot of graphic design influence because that's helped with that with all this stuff, you know,
Oh, for
production.
sure.
Yeah, yeah,
For sure. It shows, man. It really does show.
yeah, yeah,
It's
man.
fantastic. I got another question for you if you want one.
Sure, sure, sure. Just throw 'em at me.
What are you currently reading, man?
Honestly, reading is really hard for me. I don't know if I don't want to say I have ADD, but
Dude, if you got it, show it.
I haven't been diagnosed, so I'm not gonna say it, but I don't enjoy reading that much. I read
Are you a
articles.
comics guy?
No, I don't know. I'm a audio. I like to listen to the. I think it's because I like to multitask. I'm always
Yeah,
drawing. Um,
totally.
so it's really hard for me to read and concentrate. It takes me a long time. I'll read a page. I'll read a page, and after I've read the page, it seems like
You
it's
haven't read it
hard.
at all.
I just shouted out loud, and I'm like, it didn't get recorded. You
Dude,
know?
it happens to me, dude. Like I'll be reading a book and I'll be like turning a page and go, I have no idea what just happened for 5 or 6 paragraphs because I'm thinking. I'm just sounding out the words.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're just like talking, and you're not like
Yeah.
reading. So,
Yeah, it's
but I did read this recently for a freelance gig I just got. It's a Jersey Devil
wow.
by Weird New Jersey, which
That
is
looks sick.
it's a great local New Jersey magazine that I grew up
Wow.
reading. I used to go to Barnes and Noble, which is a bookstore around here, and I would go. It would be like on the face of the magazine aisles, and we'd go look at it and look for locations in New Jersey that
Yeah,
were like
sick.
mysterious or haunted. Like they would talk about Devil's Tower or like Satan's Tunnel. You go back, you're supposed to go to Devil's Tower, which we did, and we drove uh around it backwards 6 times, and then you're supposed to enter hell or like summon Satan or something.
Yeah, we got those places here in Australia.
Yeah, but the magazine is dedicated to stuff like that. And so like I said, again, part of interviewing you guys for this round of interviews that I did is I've been trying to attract more freelance and trying to get more information to share and to also apply techniques for myself. And since then I've been applying to a lot of or sending a lot of emails out to editorial gigs I want to do, or just like this magazine. I think this relates to you because it's appropriate. I am from New Jersey. I grew up in New Jersey. I'm a Jersey boy, and I reached out to them. I said, hey, I grew up just like the story I told. I grew up looking at your magazine for places to go in New Jersey after school, and they responded because I'm from here, and they're having me do a map. I'll show you over here. They're having me do a map
Hell yeah.
of cryptids around New Jersey, and I just started
Cool.
yeah, I just started sketches, and I don't know if you've heard about the Jersey Devil.
Yeah, man.
You
I'm all
have?
over cryptids. Yeah.
So,
Ah,
and
sick.
I
That's
feel
wicked.
like it's been really hard to. I've never seen a cool looking Jersey Devil, and I'm really proud of this guy. It's like
That
a
looks
BARC
sick.
Jersey Devil. We got like a man-eating shark over here. As you can see, there's all these like words that I've laid out: Mantis Man, and we got
Sick.
a Wolf Man, Bigfoot,
Oh, the best.
UFO.
UFOs.
But yeah, there's about like 25 to 30 that I've narrowed down, and I've had to do a little bit of my own research, but this is what it's looking like. I'm gonna add in some trees and buildings and whatnot, but I'm really happy, and this is a dream project, man. It's like I'm
It
doing,
is, dude. That's fucking sick.
yeah. It's been really fun, and I can't wait to hop back on that actually.
Man, speaking of UFOs, we've got a pretty famous case here just down the road. The Westall 66 case,
Which one?
where in 1966 at a primary school, a high school, primary school, whatever it is, just down the road here in Westall, a fucking couple of UFOs landed in broad daylight in 1966, and there were over 200 witnesses.
Was that the one at the school?
Yeah,
Yeah, I know that one. Wow,
and
that's right
in
there.
the
Right there.
yeah, dude, and it landed in like this like pine woods. There's this big woods out the back there, full of these pine trees. So anyway, there's documentaries about it, but I decided that I wanted to go and check it out with my little boys because I got two little boys, one's 7, the other one's 4. So they're all about looking for aliens, man. Like we can find these aliens.
Yeah.
So we went there, and there's a fucking playground, alien themed playground there. So the jungle gym is in the shape of a UFO. The seesaws are alien heads. There's like infographics posted all around the park where these things landed about the aliens. It's fascinating, man. And we stole a pine cone from there.
Oh, radioactive, dude.
Yes.
Wow.
It's got alien DNA all over it.
I love that. You got to put it in like a glass box or something.
Yeah, man. But fucking, that's a really cool project, dude. That's a sick project.
Yeah. I'm really hyped and really reaching out and again having the confidence and the bravery to ask and reach out to things that make sense.
Yep.
I think that's important because I've cold called a lot of things that don't really make as much sense, but the jobs that are appropriate, I've heard back from. So I think that's
Well,
key
that's
to being technical too. Is like, don't go cold call, go do, obviously apply to everything, but think about if you have a connection somehow, right?
exactly right. And I think it comes through when you're applying to something that, like, people, prospective clients can tell how pumped you are about a project.
Mm.
Like, there's nothing worse than like going to a shop and being served by someone who can't be fucked talking to you, and that comes across like when you take on a if you take on like a commission or a freelance job, and you kind of like, yeah, yeah, I'll do it. You know, that comes through. It comes through, and it'll come through in your fucking work.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
like you said, man, if you're pumped about it, like, you just got to take those jobs. Like, that was the thing in the workshop that was a takeaway. I think you had said it, that you should only take on the jobs that really you're excited about. You know,
yeah. It's something that Dan says too. And yeah, that I've been trying to do also. Is take on jobs that you're gonna want to uh get hired for, and
yeah,
to perpetuate. But yeah.
yeah, for sure. And I think I started adopting that too. Like, if even with like, it was tricky because I wanted to do all the freelance jobs working in my old job. I just wanted to do every single art job and get paid for it. But I learned to like be comfortable saying no. That's not really my deal.
Mm.
Like, somebody comes and goes, "Hey man, can you draw me and my wife and our dogs?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And I'm like, "Dude, I don't know if you've seen what I do, but I draw tripped out psychedelic alien landscapes.
yeah,
Um, so maybe I'm not the dude you're looking for, but thanks for hitting me up."
yeah.
And having the confidence to do that and feeling good about saying no.
Or even saying like, hey, I've done this a couple of times. Is hey, like, I don't really do that, but I only draw in my style. If you want a crazy portrait of you and your dog, then like it's got
Yeah,
to be in this style and whatever I want to do. I'm
yeah,
not gonna like draw a fucking family portrait for you. So
yeah. I'm not going to get the airbrush out in Photoshop and start.
yeah, 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 exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get it, man. I get it. I totally get it. Well, look, I got another one final question if you want to do it, man.
let's go. Shoot,
It's
shoot.
a deep one. What do you love, man?
I love the first thing that comes to mind. I love to work. I love to work, but I love hanging out with my wife and my dog. And yeah, I don't know. It just that's a tough one. Yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah. But yeah, it's I guess it's kind of bad that I said I love to work. The first
Not at
thing.
all, man.
The first thing. Um,
If that's what brings you joy and makes you feel invigorated, so be
yeah,
it.
yeah. It's such a strong compulsion to just always create. Sometimes I think it's like I feel like I have an urgency. I've really been working through that, and my wife's been really helping me through that, because I think I can't tell if it's me always escaping. I don't know if I'm always trying to escape into my work through whatever it is I'm dealing with, but it's such a safe space for me, and I do love it. I do love it. I'm gonna have more confidence to say I do love working, because it's you know through all the thick and thin, it's always been there, but I have to have a better relationship with it, and my wife has helped me a lot to have a better relationship and not get burnt out, because at times you do. It's just inevitable, you do get burnt out. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that, man. But again, like, if it's not to the detriment of your own personal life and your relationship with your wife and your dog and stuff, like, work is good, dude.
Yeah, yeah,
If it's work that's rewarding and it's making you feel great and it's not hurting anybody, it's fantastic.
it is, and I've had trouble with that because I'm obsessed and I love it too much. And again, like, it's not always just like love, working for love. It's sometimes it's a compulsion and obsession that's unhealthy. So I've been working through that a lot and having a better relationship with it, being more responsible and present with my time. Um and just not having such urgency, because I feel like I have a lot of urgency, at times I'm, I'm not exactly where I want to be yet, I'm not there yet. I'm not there exactly where I want to be. And, I go through ups and downs of am I gonna make it? Am I gonna be what I want to be? If I get to that level, is it gonna be satiate me? But no, I don't even know what I'm saying, but
I think I
yeah.
think we all kind of know on an instinctive level that when you do get to that level that you want to be at, you're going to see the next horizon. And
Yeah.
because you spent so long grinding towards this goal and you now know you can reach it, you're going to go striving for the next one.
But
So that's just sort of the
is that a capitalist mentality too?
not
No?
necessarily. It
No?
could just be if it's for if it's for merely financial gain,
Right,
perhaps.
right,
But
right,
if
right.
it's
Okay.
if the if that plateau you reached was telling your wife every day that you love her and meaning it,
Yeah,
there's nothing capitalist about that.
yeah, yeah,
It just depends on what your goals are. And I
yeah.
think if they're made with the right intentions, I think that's the most important part of it, you know? And I think we can get bogged down in other people's perceptions of what our goals are. And I
Yeah.
don't think that's important. The most important thing is that you're doing the right things for the right reasons internally, you know?
Yes, yes. Yeah, I really respect you for like having a family, and that's like, because like as a young man like me that doesn't have a family, is married, but I already feel like I don't have much time, I already feel like I don't have much time, but I guess your life just always gets more complicated. I don't know what I'm
It
even saying.
can, it
Yeah,
can, it can, but it can also the opposite effect can happen because it's like while on the outside my life looks super complicated. I've got two kids. One is at kindergarten, one's at preschool. My wife works here at home sometimes. Sometimes she's in the office. I'm here. I've got to be a dad for all of them. I'm working. I also play in a band. I've got friends. I've got all these spinning plates going on at once.
Karmavoid, you're trying to build this world,
Yeah, there's all these different things happening. But for me, on the inside of it, I just know that if I get up and I make sure my kids are fed, they're clothed, I tell them I love them, they tell me the same thing, which is the richest man in the world right there. Send them off to school, and that's me. That's the first part of my day done. The rest will just pan out. I'll get my work done. I know I'll get my work done. They'll come home. While it's super complicated, it's also ridiculously simple because
Mm,
it's going
mm,
to keep churning ahead whether or not I'm going to be present or not. So I
mhm.
just think that my main goal, aside from all the work periphery and the art, trying to be creative, cool guy, um, my goal, personal goal, is to make sure that I have an engaged relationship with my kids and my partner,
Uh,
and
I
to that everything else can, you know, as we would say in Australia, everything else can go get fucked.
yeah.
you know?
I've been getting better with it, but yeah, I've just been married about a year, a little bit over a year now, and it's a serious relationship. You know, it's a serious thing, and like I've before that I've been so consumed with work, because I love it so much, and it was kind of my everything, but this is somebody that I really want to be better for, and I I'm getting better, and even just talking about it now,
Yep.
I, how do you have a better relationship with your partner, but still, yeah, I don't know. I guess I just have a weird urgency with my work because I'm not exactly where I want to be, you know.
I think an important thing to realize is, particularly being a freelancer and you're your own boss, the
Yeah.
only person cracking the whip over you is you.
I'm cracking that
So,
whip.
yep, yep.
Yeah. But I'm like, oh yeah, you know.
You get your Da Vinci Code on it. Whip me some more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, No, I think, look, I'm not one to sort of give too much advice, but I think having an open, honest, and understanding relationship with your partner is like 9/10 of the
Mm,
battle right there.
mm,
If you both understand each other's goals and are both helping each other to try to complete those goals, that's you're the you know that's the battle won already.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I think as far as the urgency in your own work, like I've had that as well because trying to be so many different, have so many irons in the fire at once, um, and coming to the realization that the only imposed time frame is self-imposed is a great relief because you
Mm,
could
mm,
you can literally stop doing all of your work today if you want to,
yeah,
and the only thing you're going to come across is being chastised by yourself. But if you
yeah.
forgive yourself
It's
and you
true.
say to yourself, if you say to yourself, I do enough, and I am enough, I do enough,
Yeah,
if you get that mantra into your head, I've done enough, I have done enough,
yeah,
you know, and just forgive yourself. That's a big one as well. It's super Buddhist of me and all, but you gotta forgive yourself in these sort of things, man. You have to because
yeah, yeah,
when you're self-flagellating, it's fucking awful. If I came up to you and said, "Why haven't you done this?" or "Why haven't you done that?" or if I said to you, like if you externalized the mental flagellation in your head and put it in somebody else's body, and you came across them in the street, you put them in a rear naked choke. you
yeah,
know, you
yeah,
would you wouldn't stand for it from an external party.
yeah,
So you
yeah,
shouldn't, by all rationality, you shouldn't put it up with it from yourself either. So once you come to terms with that psychology and forgiving yourself and just being gentler on yourself, it
that's a
goes
great,
such a long way.
that's a great, I feel a little better too, man. Thank you. But
Okay.
yeah, 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 you're right. You're right. Because I'm creating awesome stuff. We're all creating awesome stuff and we all work really hard and
Yeah.
you don't have, yeah. I also just turned 30, so it's the first real milestone I've felt, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you're right. I
You got to
can,
remember as well, age is literally just a number.
yeah,
Dude, I'm about to turn 40 and I've just got my
yeah,
first job
yeah.
in the arts.
That's
So,
that's why I'm saying that's why I really love like talking to you about it because you did it, man. And it's like it's not, can do
and
it.
like I said, like, and you also concurred before that even if nobody saw your work and you were making no money from it,
Yeah,
you'd still do it.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So take the pressure off, man.
yeah,
Take
yeah,
the pressure off. You don't need to be so hard on yourself.
yeah,
If you've got no impending deadlines from an external, contributor, if it's just you and your computer and that's it, just fucking take the afternoon off, man.
yeah, yeah. Love yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And trust that things will be the way they are and you'll figure out a way through.
Yeah. All right, man. I think that's a good place to wrap it up. Right.
It sure is, man. Thanks for fucking sitting down having a chin wag, dude.
Yeah, man. That's great. I'm really happy we got to chat one on one and hang out and like I think we rounded out. I feel like ooh, weird glowing, in my chest there. So
Been touched by the Karmavoid.
yeah, yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. I'm feeling the karma void waves right now for sure. Sure, man. Thank you for that. Thank you for that a lot. And got a CrabCon meeting tonight. If you're not busy, stop by. But
Yeah, dude, I'll probably still be here. It's only 11 in the morning here, so I'm still working until 5:30 tonight.
yeah,
So yeah,
give them that energy and thank you for talking to me and it was really fun. Yeah.
pleasure, dude. Thank you for taking the time. We'll catch up later on.
All right, man. See you later.
See you, bro.
Peace.